All right, thanks again. So we tried to keep that brief and informative for you all, give you some new ideas and different perspectives on what's going on with online video. But now really it's all about your questions. So we've got a couple of mics here. Feel free to stand up and ask your questions. While you're in the process of thinking about it and getting some questions together, I'll start with one for the panel. And the first one here is, we just take it in order if I would like to. In what context have you all found that video advertisements work the best? So want to start? Let's start with you, James.
We did an incredible campaign for Mercedes when I was with WPP then, where we were able to convey an emotional experience of the Mercedes drawing. And when you have something that visual and vibrant, or catchy, or differentiated that video would work for, then your ad campaigns can really benefit from the power of that message. So I think when we get to probably Greg talking about some of the work he's doing, he'll be able to reinforce that. But if you have a rich or a visual or a impactful message, then it always helps.
I think this is really great question, that the context is really important for the video production. So I think it's important to beyond the expectation of the consumer. So when the consumers feel something great, so the consumer is proactive. So therefore, the memorable brand experience is really important for the video. So in that context, the consumers are more active, and they can talk about the video via the social network. That is very important.
Yeah, I mean, from the Intel perspective, you can think about the challenge I have every day of something ubiquitous, a little tiny chip inside a PC, and trying to emotionalize that experience for consumers that don't really care about it. And so when you're trying to translate really, really complex features and benefits into a usage model for a consumer, you say a picture is worth 1,000 words. I'd say the video is worth 1,000,000 words. Because you can visualize some of those emotional benefits that you get from better performance and better wireless and all of these great things that Intel brings that could be really, really sterile. And so I think we'd be absolutely dead without video being able to emotionalize all that.
Can you do that?
Yeah, so from a video stream perspective, Singapore, I think, Singaporeans watch 300 million plus videos in a month on the web. So it's an incredibly developed market from a viewing perspective. From an advertising perspective, I think it's fairly nascent still. And so you see a lot of advertisers now just extending their TV or their offline campaigns online. So we haven't seen as much innovation in Singapore as we would like to see, I think, to Greg's point. But where we've had success globally from Microsoft is in the US, we've seen incredibly emotive and really rich video campaigns that have run across a page. For instance, we had a Chanel No. 5 campaign that was just incredible. And so things like that work very well, and we hope to see that come over to APAC and Southeast Asia.
I think the one thing I'll add that I don't think I heard too much about was we also hear a lot from advertisers about the quality of the content that they're advertising. And I heard a little bit about that. That also seems to be something that's quite differentiated. They want to comment on.
Yeah, I mean, just last month there's a really good article in Ad Age about that, in that it's worth your dollars if you're buying really quality content, because the video that you're producing, there's statistically higher probability of having really good brand takeaways from your video if consumers are associating with high quality content that they care about. So, from our perspective, as we're looking at buying that content online, it's way to our advantage to be buying that premium content rather than just kind of sending it out probably ad network. Sorry for all the ad network guys out there. But I think that's
you've got a great message to sell, put it on the homepage. So basically, you can make the ad networks really happy because Yahoo is Right Media and it's also Yahoo. But you'll find that you get a lot more response if you're going to create a great ad, give it the presence it deserves.
Let's talk about targeting. You know, the holy grail of online video is getting the individual exactly the content they want and then targeting the ad perfectly to them instead of broadcast. How's it going? Is it working? Is it not going? How are each of you incorporating targeting into either your platform as a publisher or your campaigns as advertising? Why don't we say more?
Sure. Okay. How many people out there are using targeted advertising? Excellent. That's actually a pretty good number. Are you targeting with statistics, or are you really targeting by the content that you buy and where you place your ads? Or do you really know you're using targeting because you have the age, demographic, sex, location, geography? Well, I got one hand on that. It's going to be very difficult. Everyone's trying to work on a login, registration, identification, cookie technology, and obviously I've kind of been doing tech for a while. The privacy policy thing is a little bit concerning, but there are some technologies that will let you do it better. I take a two-pronged approach. When I'm going to try and reach someone, I can reach them by putting good content in front of them. If you're a tennis fan, then Rolex wants to talk to you. That's targeting. I can also do it the other way, which is in order to log into my service, before I log in service, I know who you are and I have some demographic information. So that's another way to do it. But again, it's going to be very difficult to get a targeting strategy across a lot of Asian properties when you start talking China, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, right? It's where we want to try and get to, but remember, the first one works pretty good. You've got great content, you're associated with it, and you have a good ad. That will reach your audience.
Yeah, from creative point of view, the targeting is also important. So at first, we have to consider the insight of the consumer, so deep insight. And next, so we have to learn the culture of the target. What are they like, or what are they up to? Developing the data. So after that, so we created. After that we learn from the survey. So we have to make the core idea. So therefore, anyway, so the targeting is really important for creating the core idea and the final video.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're definitely doing targeting, and I would be surprised if most people weren't. Where I think that we've got a lot of room to grow is customizing that video content based upon some of the lifestyle targeting we're doing. So rather than running some of the same assets across our targets, we have very unique and different video. And you know, today it just boils down to production costs, but as we get more and more efficient, going back to that 30-week roadmap I was talking about, I'm hoping that we can do our targeting and much more unique video content there.
Yeah, to echo James's point, I think the type of content we have is one of the ways we target it. And so by talking to a Singaporean audience and putting a very hyper-local content, we're targeting that way. And then also the benefit of being Microsoft, and that we have both the publishing platform and then the advertising platform, we're able to call a lot of data on our users and then target effectively as well.
Yes, we now have our first audience question. And anybody else, if you have a question, the way I'll know it, just stand up next to the mic, so we'll get you next then. So we'll start with your question.
So I have a couple of questions, one leads to the other. So targeting for us, how we doing video targeting is that we actually use promoted videos